Second thing is keeping Drake Maye in the pocket. And when we talked about it yesterday, he's at 16.1% of the time he's being sacked, which is the second highest going into a Super Bowl in the history of the NFL next to Roger Staubach. So you can't allow him to answer that problem with his feet. So part of that is going to be keeping him in the pocket and making sure that you're not giving him run lanes so that the pressure which is going to come, he then answers with an 8-yard gain, a 10-yard gain, a 12-yard gain, and he's been very effective with his feet, and I imagine that's going to be the early answer for him, especially with the pressure of the moment. So that's a second component.
Yeah, I'm so glad Manini said that, because this is literally what I've been saying. All Super Bowl coverage about that in order for the Patriots to win this game, they have to disrupt the Seattle Seahawks. It's not just about the Patriots playing their best game. It's about forcing the Seahawks to not play their best game, which sounds kind of silly to say, but that's not always the case. That is not always the case for games. Sometimes it's just, let's just play our best version of football, and that's the main focus. Sometimes it's more about disrupting the other team, and my two main ways of doing that, the one is Drake Maye and his legs. Drake Maye and his legs, not keeping him in the pocket, and if he can use his legs, that then forces Seattle into a way that they don't want it. Just opens up everything. It's not a matter of just having Drake Maye, let it rip, because again, everybody was so hyper-focused on the deep balls here, talking about his shoulder, his deep ball accuracy, all this type of stuff. And it's just that's not the path through this. Don't get me wrong, that, if the New England Patriots win the Super Bowl, there's going to be part of that. He's a quarterback, right? He's, and he's elite. But the way how you really disrupt this defense, the way how I see it is through Drake Maye's legs, and it'll be the plays. And I made the joke when I was talking about it in my Seahawks video, where it's just the broadcast is going to be oh man, look at the defense now. Their hands on their shoulders, hands on their hips, huffing and puffing, everybody was covered. You can't play any better defense than that for the Seahawks. Everyone's covered. And yet Drake Maye was able to, his greatness is on display. He felt the pressure and took off with his legs. And you would need those moments for me. And then the other answer for that is then disrupting Sam Darnold. It's really just making him uncomfortable and question everything, and really, most importantly, making Sam so uncomfortable that you now force the Seahawks to question what they're looking to do. Again, you want to have another moment where the broadcast is man, Kubiak doesn't know what he can call right now because nothing seems to be going right, or Sam's so uncomfortable. Whatever it may be like that, if you hear both of those things on the broadcast, you're doing good. You are in a true position to win that Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl. That's the way how I see it. Those are my two major keys, the biggest keys for the New England Patriots to win. It's Drake Maye using his legs and being a big disruptive force. Honestly, to the degree where you break Jalen Hurts' rushing record, honestly, and if you do that, then you're in business. And again, defensively, it's not a matter of just sacking Sam Darnold or generating some pressure on him. It's making him uncomfortable. It's forcing, it's making him make bad decisions, making bad throws. It's not even a matter of forcing the turnovers. Again, of course, turnovers, interceptions, pick sixes, right? You want to pick six every single time, right? Obviously, but it's not even that. You just need to have enough moments when you're just oh my God, Sam cannot make that throw. I don't know what he was thinking. He got lucky there. Even a moment like that goes such a long way, because it puts the pressure now, especially on Sam, but now on the coaching staff, on Kubiak, to feel uncomfortable there. They're ooh-ho. They don't have the long-term trust there. They don't. Kubiak. Sam, that this hasn't been a coaching quarterback duo for years. So there's plenty of moments that you can now start to feel uncomfortable, and you're just oh my gosh, I would just hand the ball off right now. Hand the ball off. We got so lucky there. And if you're lucky enough for the Seahawks to not get lucky there, and you actually do force a turnover, then things can spiral. Things can spiral out of control pretty quickly in Super Bowls. They really can. We've seen it happen again and again and again and again. And it is why someone like a Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, for that matter, who in both Super Bowls had both had turnovers, and like it kept them on phase. You know, obviously Mahomes' last Super Bowl it spiraled, but I don't think, you know, that wasn't because like he was starting to unravel or anything like that. That wasn't my read on it. But like things unravel, man. Things unravel. Everyone starts to feel uncomfortable. Everyone starts to get a little tighter. The coaches start to get a little bit more like, ah, like you just feel it, man. You sense it. And that's one of the biggest things that you see. And that's what's so interesting about this Super Bowl right now, because it's two brand new teams in the Super Bowl, new coaches for the most part. Obviously, I know there's some overlap with the Ray Bowl and McDaniels and whatnot, but like, you know, it's just different. Even Josh McDaniels, you know, he's in the Super Bowl, but it's not with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. It's a different experience. Let's be serious here. But you hear this all the time with players who have been to multiple Super Bowls, and just how different it felt for them in the first Super Bowl compared to the second, third, or so Super Bowls. There's just a different energy, a different understanding, a different level of looseness and confidence that the vast majority of these teams, they're just not going to have. Again, you know, Milton Williams and whatnot. And again, this is Josh McDaniels has been there. But it's just, and Rabel obviously is a player, but like it's just a little different. It's just, it's just going to be a little different. It's definitely better than the situation that Kubiak is in, or Sam is in, or something, or, you know, but like Cooper Kupp, he's obviously been there. And again, I'm sure there's other players that I'm not thinking about right now, but it's not like Cooper Kupp's Jackson Smith and Jigma right now. He's not the number one piece on that off, and still crucial and important, and can still talk to everyone and keep everyone, you know, that's a Super Bowl MVP, obviously, and Cooper Kupp, but, you know, it's just a little different. And it's just, it's different, especially when it's not your quarterback. You have a second-year quarterback in Drake Maye. You have a Sam Darnold who people can't figure out, was he just in a bad situation in New York, or, you know, what's the actual real story of Sam? And if there's just a way to disrupt that and make you start to question all of those things, you're in good shape. And to me, that is the way how the Patriots win this game. That's how they win the Super Bowl. It's really through disruption of Sam Darnold, as well as Drake Maye using his legs, because I know he's going to be able to throw the ball. I know he's going to be able to make plays and make passes. I'm not worried about that. Not concerned about that at all. I'm okay with him. I know he's going to be able to endure taking sacks. Like, he's done it all. Like, Monty is talking about all those sacks, and yeah. And it's like he did it all year. He's like, this is the highest rate to make the Super Bowl. And it's like, yeah, because it doesn't affect them negatively. That's the thing. So, like, I'm okay with that. But I will say this, though, if any team is going to be able to make you pay for the sacks, who's going to make you pay for being behind the sticks? It's going to be the Seattle Seahawks. So it's not necessarily about avoiding those sacks, which, again, obviously you want to do, right? You don't want to get sacked or anything like that. That goes without saying. But it's not even like in this game you can't have any sacks. Like, no, but you still got to make them pay. You got to make them pay. And in a lot of ways, if it's like 3rd and 12, 2nd and 12, I find it way more devastating for Drake Maye to then use his legs to pick up that first down, or to now make it 3rd and 1 or something. Like it was 2nd and 15 or 2nd and 19 or something. And now you're looking to now force a 3rd long for the Seahawks, but because of Drake Maye's legs, it's now 3rd and 2. It's like even something like that becomes devastating. Even because of that, now you're just disrupting and frustrating. And like I said, that goes a long way, and you know, furs in the similar ways that I was talking about. So that's really the lens that I'm looking at, the path that I'm looking at it through for the New England Patriots. But I mean, yeah, I think the Patriots are also in kind of a fun spot here, because I know a lot of people are picking the Seahawks. A lot of people are confident in the Seattle Seahawks, and the Patriots get to be in this position of doubt, and, you know, kind of a little bit of an unknown. Everyone's really excited for Drake Maye and pumped for Drake Maye. and the media certainly wants Drake Maye to be the next big thing for quarterbacks. You know, it's better for business. It's better for everyone involved when you get to have another great quarterback. It's been bad that Joe Burrow is as great as he is, but he's not in the playoffs and he can't stay healthy. Like that's and he's in Cincinnati that no one really cares about. It's like that's bad for business, man. That's bad for business. They don't want that. And so the football ecosystem wants Drake Maye to be special. They want him to be great, but he's an unknown right now, even though he was a true bona fide MVP candidate. And from my viewpoint, should have won MVP over Matthew Stafford, but that's a different take. But he's still an unknown of like, how do you perform in the Super Bowl? Because I don't care what happened in the divisional round, the wild card round, the AFC champ. None of that matters because it's how do you perform in the Super Bowl? The Super Bowl is the Super Bowl. That's not a conference championship game. That's not a divisional round. That's not a wild card round. This is the Super Bowl. You feel it to your core. You feel it to your core. I've seen Drake Maye make a mistake, have a fumble, whatever, throw an interception, and be able to overcome it like it was nothing. You got to be able to do that in the Super Bowl, or just not make that mistake or not have that turnover. So I'm really excited to see how Drake Maye individually plays. That's probably, I actually try not to just look at things through the lenses of quarterback on quarterback, honestly. That's even my take for the Washington Commanders, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Los Angeles Rams going into that. I was very much like, I'm excited to see what the coaching looks like. I'm excited to see what Mike McDonald has in store for the Los Angeles Rams offense and Sean McVay. Like, you know, that's what actually I was more interested in. Like, I wasn't looking at it through the Sam Darnold versus Matthew Stafford, right? Like, that's not what I was actually looking at it for through and what I was most excited about. It ended up being obviously incredibly exciting and awesome, but it wasn't what I was going into that game with the most anticipation and excitement to see for this Super Bowl. I'm actually very much looking at it through the lens of Drake Maye and Sam Darnold. How the heck is Sam Darnold going to play in the Super Bowl? How the heck is Drake Maye going to play in this Super Bowl? I'm really excited because we've seen such varying levels of quarterback performances over the years. And it's why I'm so impressed with what Jalen Hurts has done in multiple Super Bowls because I think it's pretty remarkable. I think it's pretty iconic. I think it's pretty awesome. It's by definition historic, and I think it's great. And is there another truly bona fide performance like that on the table for either Sam or Drake Maye in a way that like we didn't see with Joe Burrow? We haven't even really seen from Patrick Mahomes. I'd say that Patrick Mahomes has played poorly by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't think we've ever really seen Patrick Mahomes truly take over or play just elite start to finish. And Matthew Stafford had some beautiful moments and some beautiful throws, but like, you know, I don't know if that was necessarily the story of his game. He didn't even win the MVP. Tom Brady, I guess, to a degree in the Super Bowl against the Buck, you know, with the Bucks against the Chiefs, but like that game got so out of control. When a quarterback plays great in a game that like was truly just like, I don't know, it felt a little different for me, honestly. I'm not, you know, I don't know, that just landed a little bit differently. And also Tom Brady, since he's just a pure passer, it's just going to be a little different than like Jalen having to use his legs, take over in the run game, et cetera, et cetera. And Drake Maye has that opportunity. That's why I even said breaking Jalen's record, right? Like I think that would have to be on the table for Drake Maye to win this game, and the possibility for that. So that's actually really what I'm most excited to see, if really. And I can't say one or the other, but it's just how does Sam Darnold play in this Super Bowl? How does Drake Maye play in this Super Bowl? That's really what I'm focused on. And it's funny too because last year's Super Bowl I was very much focused on Fangio and Kel Moore because I was like, I know how Andy Reid and Spags are going to be, but it's like I'm not looking to Jalen. I'm not looking to AJ. Everyone's like, well, Saquon Barkley needs to be able to rush for a so-and-so. I'm like, no, this is on Fangio and Kel Moore that, you know, what do they have in store right now? And right now for me, I'm like, what does Drake Maye and Sam Darnold have in store? What is the quality of play, the quality of decision-making, the resiliency, right? Their ability to overcome adversity, to be able to throw that interception or have that fumble and be able to just be like, no, no worries, let's go. That's what I'm the most excited to see going into the Super Bowl, but those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Drake Maye, the New England Patriots? How do you feel their best path to victory is? Let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. So, whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.